What is up? What's up, Joe? Glad you could make it. We have a pretty packed night for you. Should keep you busy. Hopefully, keep you thinking. Hello, Misty. Thanks for joining us. All right. So, we are going to go over some somewhat breaking news. We're also going to talk about some cases involving some catfish, some recent cold cases that were solved um, using DNA. And then we are going to go and talk about Tristan Dilly. She's going to be our featured case of the night. Um, After reading it, kind of shook me up, and I wanted to make sure we save that for last. That way we can talk about it a little bit. All right, Ace. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I'll try to keep it nice and smooth here. So let's jump right into some of this news here. I found it pretty interesting. Okay, now this is a story of two teens that actually murdered their Spanish teacher in Fairfield, Iowa. So let's go and take a look here.
In the death of a Fairfield high school teacher, Jefferson County authorities say Willard Noble Chaden Miller and Jeremy Everett Goodale are charged with first-degree homicide and conspiracy to commit first-degree homicide. They are both 16 but have been charged as adults in the death of 66-year-old Nohema Graber. Reporter Brian Tabik looked through court documents for information about why investigators believe the two 16-year-olds killed their teacher.
Court documents say Chautauqua Park here in Fairfield is a place that Nohema Graber spent many afternoons walking. It's also the place where her body was found, concealed by a tarp, a wheelbarrow, and railroad ties.
I was really shocked when I heard that. It definitely doesn't seem real. Like it feels like something that would happen in TV.
People in Fairfield we spoke with feel the same way as Ariana Rogers, a student shocked and mourning the death of Nohema Graber. Rogers was looking forward to taking Spanish class with Graber.
I got the news while I was at work, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I still am in shock. I cannot believe it.
Sherry Ramirez didn't know Graber, but one of her children sat near one of the students accused of killing her. Two 16-year-olds, Jeremy Goodale and Willard Miller, are accused of her murder. It isn't clear if the two were in Graber's class, but court filings show someone who knew Goodale went to police with social media posts that revealed Goodale knew something about the disappearance and death of the longtime teacher.
It didn't seem like they would be the type to do something like this. They weren't mean kids, they weren't bullies or anything like that.
Court documents state police searched both students' homes and took a number of pieces of clothing they believed to contain blood. Documents say Miller told police he was present for the murder and helped to conceal the body. Now, people who knew the teacher want people to remember her for the person she was.
Her overall energy was very good. I would walk past her in the halls and she would say hi to almost every single student. She was a very nice person.
I moved here for purposes of feeling safe, and then I don't know. I just don't know.
No classes were scheduled in Fairfield today. A vigil is planned at the high school at 7 p.m. this evening.
Okay, I want to rewind this a little bit here. Let's see.
People who knew the teacher want people to remember her for the person she was.
Her overall energy was very good. I
searched both students' homes and took a number of pieces of clothing they believed to contain blood. Documents say Miller told police he was present for the murder and helped to conceal the body. Now, people who knew the teacher want people to remember her for the person she Who were in Graber's class, but court filing shows someone who knew Goodale went to police with social media posts that revealed Goodale knew something about the disappearance and death of the longtime teacher.
They definitely, it didn't seem like
Right here.
they would be the type to do something like this. They weren't mean kids, they weren't bullies or anything like that.
Court documents
Did you hear what they said? So I just want that to stand out to anybody out there who has their suspicions about somebody. Real strong suspicions, but they just can't wrap their mind around it because they're generally good people. Listen to what she says here.
The type to do something like this. They weren't.
longtime teacher.
They definitely, it didn't seem like they would be the type to do something like this. They weren't mean kids, they weren't bullies or anything like that.
Court documents state police searched both students' homes and took a number of pieces of clothing they believed to contain blood. Documents say Miller told police he was present.
Okay. So I thought that was interesting. They used railroad ties, so they must have been near a railroad. So that's kind of what grabbed my attention. I was like, whoa. But most importantly, to the outside world, these kids seemed normal. Now, this is a tragic case, and it is breaking news as well. So I'll let it speak for itself. You guys are going to get a kick out of this one. Pay close attention to the end of the video.
Will never stop mourning the brutal murder of their 13-year-old girl. How could they? It took days for the family to help find her body, tossed into a dumpster. But it took New York detectives 2 decades to find the man they say killed her. And how cops linked Joseph Martinez to the murder of minor Liz Soriano. Well, that's what authorities are explaining tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Stefan Kim live in the Melrose section of the Bronx with this pretty remarkable story. Stefan.
Well, Bill, approved about 4 years ago by the state, it's called familial DNA, and this is the first time this technology has been used to solve a cold case in New York City.
This beautiful little girl was treated less than human. It has been 22 years since her life was cruelly taken, but detectives never gave up on finding justice for her and her family.
13-year-old minor Liz Soriano, who went by Minnie in 1999, was on her way home in Co-op City when she was sexually abused and strangled. 3 days after she went missing, her body was discovered in a dumpster in the Bronx, dumped like trash. Eyewitness News reporter Sandra Bookman in 1999.
Police spent much of yesterday looking through the trash at this video store here at the Bay Plaza shopping complex in the Baychester section of the Bronx.
More than 20 years later, investigators say they found her killer. 49-year-old Joseph Martinez pleaded not guilty today to murder charges.
Yep, amazing.
Several persons of interest involved in this case, all of whom were excluded.
Wait for the kicker.
Prosecutors say they have mounds of evidence against him. Police made the arrest in the cold case murder yesterday.
This case brings together modern science and traditional investigative work.
This case has left a dramatic impact on us.
Detectives found the father of the suspect, which then led to Martinez. It's like building a family tree by searching for specific familial DNA.
The DNA evidence recovered from Liz was initially searched through the CODIS databases, which are the government databases, for a direct match. Those results were negative in 2000. Consequently, when familial DNA searching was introduced, familial DNA searching is a deliberate search using specialized software for a relative.
Minnie's family at the DA's press conference say they never gave up hope. It's been 22 years, she says. All of this has been overwhelming, but they're grateful to detectives and the DA. Nobody from her family and none of Minnie's friends remember Martinez, but police say he lived in Co-op City in 1999. Police say he was living all these years in New Rochelle, in plain sight, living a public life, calling himself Jupiter Joe. A YouTube video shows him in public places, teaching astronomy to children.
If I told you my name was Joe Martinez, would you remember it?
His defense attorney says,
I will now.
The wrong man.
He denies these allegations. The case is pretty unusual in that Mr. Martinez is 49 years old. He has no criminal history.
Now, when asked if this new technology would be a game changer for prosecutors, the DA said, "We'll just have to see." Minnie would have been 35 years old today.
Wow. So this dude was a straight up YouTuber, guilty of a cold case. Would have been even crazier if he ended up being some type of true crime YouTuber. Careful how you entertain strangers. Remember that. Okay, so we're going to jump right into the catfish items I have here. Some of them are very similar to what we possibly could be dealing with. Kind of might give you an insight into the mind of somebody who commits crimes with this type of MO. Like I said, these are just cases that I've kind of stumbled across, and something jumps out at me and it kind of reminds me of the Delphi, whether it's a profile I might be working on or something that stuck out that law enforcement said or popped up in a discussion. All right, and this one's out of UK. His name is David Wilson. Now it doesn't get any sicker than this.
This is 36-year-old David Wilson topping up £20 on a burner phone so he could send images of girls from the internet to young boys. In exchange, he would attempt, and was a lot of the time successful, at getting those same boys to send indecent images of themselves back to him. He was a man so depraved yet so sneaky, it would take the UK's FBI, the National Crime Agency, years to finally bring him to justice. David Wilson, the man who attempted to abuse 5,000 children over the internet.
One detained! 1 male detained! Clear top!
In May of 2016, David Wilson would log on to one of his many fake social media profiles claiming to be a young teenage girl. He then starts to approach young boys and gets into relatively normal conversations with them. Over time, these messages would turn into either sexual conversations or, as one victim describes, threats and harassment. The sexual conversations would see David send out full naked pictures of adult women over to the boys in exchange for the
I like
boys
that
to
name
send
too,
back images
Haunted
of
Parlor.
themselves. Whilst others were harassed that much by him,
No,
he
this
would
is not
claim he would
Maricopa.
disappear in
See,
return
this
for
is
indecent
out of
images from
UK,
them. His
out of the
offending
UK.
didn't just take place in the UK though. His victims and potential victims were located all over the world. By June and July of 2017, Facebook passed information on that 20 accounts of boys ranging from 12 to 15 years old had been sending indecent images of themselves to an account seemingly belonging to a 13-year-old girl. The investigation was being run by the NCMEC, the US National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, who then passed the information on to the NCA as they see the account belongs to someone in the UK. The NCA uncovered key evidence against David, including IP addresses used to commit the offences resolved to his house. The agency also uncovered CCTV footage of him buying a top-up voucher for a phone number linked to one of the fake Facebook accounts. When he was arrested in August of 2017, the phone used to commit some of the offences was hidden in his bedroom, but believe it or not, even though they had all this evidence, he would go on to be bailed as investigations continued. Little did they know at that point though, he wouldn't be spooked by the arrest, and the abuse against children online was about to get a whole lot worse.
I don't know who that
After
is.
his arrest, he would be
I don't
back
know
to
those
his old
initials.
tricks again and would start to use the same tactics to groom young boys. This time he would create even
Thank you,
more
Amber.
accounts, but would use blackmail tactics to get more extreme images. Once those initial images had been sent by the young boys, David would start to claim that he would distribute them to family and friends if they didn't do what he demanded. Some things that have been noted is that children as young as 4 years old would be horrifically abused by their older siblings due to the online blackmail by David. Despite multiple victims pleading for him to stop, he now knew he was in full control of them and continued the abuse for the years that followed. Sadly, sometimes his threats to give out these images proved true though, because on occasions they were given out to friends of the victims, which led a lot of them to contemplate suicide. And we're talking boys that are quite literally 11, 12, 13 years old. As time went on, the NCMEC would be getting fed more information from Facebook about young boys sending indecent images to accounts belonging to young girls, but of course this was David, and 90 referrals were made to the NCA from their US counterparts. The relevant material contained more than 250,000 messages to victims across the UK, Australia and America. Over 5,000 children were approached, and 500 of them are thought to have fell victim to David. By April of 2020, NCA officers would go on to arrest David again in connection with their investigation.
One detained! One male detained! Pupil, clear top.
Got him.
Right, okay, David, listen in. Okay, as of this moment, okay, you are under arrest for the following offences. I need you to listen to the offences, okay? I'm going to go through them. Right, causing or inciting a child under 13 years of age to engage in sexual activity. Causing or...
Alright, I want you to take a look at something. So you notice there's that female. I don't know if that's his girlfriend or a relative. But when they start reading off the charges, watch his facial expression as he kind of looks over at her.
Under 13 years of age to engage in sexual activity. Causing or inciting a child to engage in sexual activity.
A little bit further.
Right, okay, David, listen in. Okay, as of this moment, okay, you are under arrest for the following offences. I need you to listen to the offences, okay? I'm going to go through them. Right, causing or inciting a child under 13 years of age to engage in sexual activity. Causing or inciting a child to engage in sexual activity. Sexual communication with a child. Blackmail. Making and distribution of indecent images of children. And the possession of indecent images of children. Do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. Okay, David, the grounds for this are that we're in possession of material that shows that accounts controlled by you, David Wilson, are involved in the commission of the offences for which I've just arrested you for. Okay? This arrest is necessary for a number of reasons. To protect children or other vulnerable persons from you, to allow the prompt and effective investigation of the offences, okay, by means of recorded interview where special warnings may be delivered to you, okay, and to preserve evidence that we believe that you may attempt to destroy or hide if you're not arrested. Okay, do you understand? Yeah.
When he was arrested this time though, he attempted to dispose of a mobile phone by putting it down the toilet, which was later recovered and repaired. It's thought that this phone contained vital evidence that would help convict him. This time he would go on to be charged with 96 sex offences against 52 boys aged between the ages of 4 and 14, from the dates of May 2016 to April of 2020. I'm unsure why, if there was 500 victims, the prosecution only felt the need to include 52 of them, by the way. Maybe the 52 were on the more extreme end of the offending. He ended up pleading guilty to the charges that were brought against him, and in the sentencing hearing, the judge was quoted as saying that in his 40-year career, David Wilson's offending was amongst the worst he'd ever seen. It was then...
Damn. What is that called? Sexploitation, I think is what they call it. So basically, this guy had all these different profiles. He was acting like women, getting these young guys to take off their clothes and do, compromising things, and then he would blackmail them. I mean, how wicked is that? That's crazy. And it's not like he was blackmailing them for money. He was blackmailing them to do more disgusting things. This next one is out of Australia. I try to get things from all over the world because I know you guys are from, we got some fans and some viewers and some true crime fans from Australia, the UK, Europe. So just want to make sure we're including you guys. This one's actually pretty well known, but I just thought it was appropriate for tonight's show.
A grieving mother is going national on a crusade she began following the brutal murder of her daughter. The Carly Ryan Foundation has hit the road to warn teenagers about internet sex predators.
A mother's love knows no bounds, and it's what drives
Yeah.
Sonia Ryan.
She would be saying to me, Mom,
Exactly.
get the message out to every young person.
She says Carly was an innocent child full of trust. She had thought she was chatting online with 20-year-old Brandon Kane. Instead, it was 50-year-old pedophile Gary Newman who lured Carly to her death when she rejected his sexual advances. Newman was a deviant who mastered the art of deception with a staggering 200 fake online personas. Sonia Ryan wants to warn of the dangers.
Most kids just don't think it's going to happen to them. They put all their information on their MySpace and Facebook, and they don't think about who could be looking at their information.
To grab the attention of teens, Ms. Ryan has spent the past week interstate touring with bands, handing out this internet safety pamphlet to concert goers.
Once they'd read the brochure, came to me and said, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for this information, and I'll pass it on to my friends.
So far, 20,000 pamphlets have been distributed, and now sponsors are needed to pay for another printing run. A website will soon be launched. Sonia Ryan's also giving talks at primary and secondary schools around Adelaide, but her cause could get the ultimate boost. The foundation's approached Oprah Winfrey in the hope she might agree to publicise it when she visits in December. Michelle Vella, 7 News.
So if you heard the most important part of the video and the most specific reason I wanted to play this was the description of the perpetrator. He had over, I think they said, 200 or 2,000 online profiles. I mean, there's people like that out there. You got people out there, the same people that are creating all these profiles are the same people that are out there like doxing people, and they're out. It's like part of the same type of wickedness or the same type of evil intentions. They seek to hurt people, and we'll kind of dive into that a little bit further. But I thought it was kind of interesting. This guy was basically just some kind of super troll, but while he was being a super troll, he was using it to commit his crimes. So you guys got to be careful. I mean, even amongst us, just on YouTube, imagine the type of wickedness that's amongst us that we don't even know, these fake profiles. And, we got to do our best to try to stay low key. But I mean, just coming out here on YouTube, you're asking for it. But the difference between me is that if you're going to come at me, I'm coming back at you, and I do have the resources and somewhat of the technical know-how to do that. So be careful when you step into my garden, and you know who I'm talking to. All right, let's go right into the next case. This is going to be a two-part because I did find some more information that I thought was really interesting. So
Serial killer was convicted in Essex County, New Jersey. He murdered at least 3 women and nearly killed another woman. The jury convicted 23-year-old Khalil Wheeler Weaver of Orange on all 11 charges, including murder, attempted murder, and kidnapping. He killed 33-year-old Joanne Brown, 19-year-old Robin West, and 20-year-old Sarah Butler after connecting them using a social app.
Wheeler Weaver mistakenly believed that they were anonymous people on the margins.
it's okay, Amber. They won't listen.
And ultimately their death would not matter.
Some people have to learn the hard way.
This team assembled here today proved otherwise.
Wheeler never admitted to killing the women. He's expected to be sentenced in January.
So that was part one. And this is the interesting part. He was actually outsmarted through social media by a family member or a friend. Let's take a closer look here. Excuse me.
For more than a week, Wheeler Weaver was arrested for murder and disturbing of human remains last Wednesday.
Just another creep using social media to trick people. This guy was using dating apps. So now let's get into some good news, some cold cases that are no longer cold, but in fact solved.
New at 6, the man accused of murder in a Region 8 cold case had his trial delayed to next year. According to court documents, William Alma Miller is accused of killing Rebecca Gould in Izard County back in 2004. Miller appeared in court today, where the defense asked for the jury trial to be continued to February 16th. If you'll recall, Rebecca Gould was only 22 years old when she was killed. Her body was found a few days after her disappearance off of Highway 9, just outside of Melbourne. Miller was arrested in Oregon last year after living in the Philippines for years. Arkansas State Police had identified Miller as a suspect months before and were waiting for his stateside return. Izard County Sheriff Jack Yancey says the difficulty with this case was how briefly Miller was in Melbourne, only visiting from Texas for less than a week when the murder occurred.
Okay, I want to play that last part one more time.
This was how briefly Miller was in Melbourne, only visiting from Texas for less than a week when the murder occurred.
So, I mean, he wasn't even from there. He didn't live there. He was just visiting and was able to perpetrate this crime. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, you definitely have to have a lot of bitch assness, more than that. I mean, to take, to abuse children or to basically use children as your victims. Okay, we all know the story of April Tinsley. 30 years, but I mean, 30 years is better than never. Let's take a look and see if you guys can identify any of the similarities between this and the Delphi case. And then we're going to get into the featured case, which is Tristan Dilly, and then we're going to talk about the Delphi case. Couple clips from the news conference that I wanted to play. There was one that I was looking for, and maybe you guys can post it once we get to that point. Usually it's the first one I find, but for some reason I couldn't find it at all. But let's take a look at this. This is the April Tinsley case, cold case, recently solved.
The FBI now has a more detailed description of the suspected killer.
This guy is a monster. He's a coward.
It's the unthinkable crime that haunted Fort Wayne, Indiana for 3 decades.
A big break in a decades-old cold case.
Until a clue hidden in a genetic code landed a suspected child murderer behind bars.
The abduction and death of 8-year-old April Tinsley has haunted this community for over 30 years.
The arrest, part of a new wave of crime solving, linking DNA with genealogy to hunt the most violent offenders. 1988, a killer on the loose, taunting police, threatening to strike again. The face of an innocent young girl thrust into the national spotlight. 8-year-old April Tinsley going to play at a friend's house, but never making it home. Little April kidnapped, raped, and strangled, her body dumped in a ditch.
I think about April often. I carried her picture in my wallet for a long, long time.
The case baffling authorities, the mysterious killer inflicting more fear, leaving rambling, misspelled messages, authorities say, like this carving on a barn door 2 years after the murder. I kill 8-year-old April. I will kill again. Then, in 2004, according to police, more notes, left at the homes of other young girls, reading, "Hi, honey, I've been watching you. You are my next victim."
How chilling are the details of this case?
I can assure you that anyone who worked on this case has been haunted by it.
Investigators say DNA from some of those notes matched DNA found at the crime scene. With a madman nowhere to be found, police putting out this composite sketch based on his DNA profile.
I was part of this investigation when it started, and there has not been a day, a month, or a year that has gone by.
Okay, Bruiser, man. Thanks for stopping by. I'll hit you up a little bit later
on this case.
this week.
But for decades, nothing.
There's got to be a bright spot. It's going to come someday. And then there's moments you have like, this is never going to be solved.
Then
I don't know, Joe. We'll talk about it, though.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers. And on Sunday, we were able to give them some of those answers.
Police taking 59-year-old John D. Miller into custody at this mobile home park where he lived, about 6 miles from where April's body was found.
I know he had a bad temper. He'd always be outside cussing and swearing, throwing stuff.
Investigators say they asked Miller if he knew why he was being
What up,
questioned.
Big Daddy?
His response?
Gang, gang.
April Tinsley. Then, according to police, a confession.
How critical is that confession in the case?
The DNA is still going to be the most important piece of evidence in this case. You combine that with the confession, and it's hard to figure out exactly what his defense is going to be.
Today is a big win for law enforcement, and this investigation illustrates the dogged determination of the investigators who never wavered, never gave up, and kept moving forward for the last 30 years.
I can't tell you how happy I am for Janet that she finally has some closure to this. I know it's still going to, haunt her the rest of her life every day. But I am so happy that she can finally rest a little bit knowing that he is finally caught.
The break, police say,
What's up, Rod?
thanks to a new cutting-edge tool combining the power of DNA, genealogy, and the internet. Creating a genetic profile from crime scene DNA, authorities say they uploaded it to a public database called GEDmatch, leading police to identify relatives, then zeroing in on a suspected killer, John Miller. Investigators later recovering a DNA sample from Miller's trash. That, they say, tied him to April's murder.
Is there any concern about the legality of that, digging through somebody's trash?
The Supreme Court specifically ruled on, can police use evidence that they find in someone's garbage? And the answer is typically yes. If you're discarding your garbage outside of your home, you're pretty much giving up an expectation of privacy associated with that trash.
This is the 5th case that has been announced in which we were able to help investigators determine who the suspect is.
Genetic genealogist C.C. Moore made a name for herself, connecting families to long-lost relatives.
The power of genetic genealogy is tremendous. I've seen it for many years in its ability to reunite families, and it's just as powerful for law enforcement.
Now she's working with a lab in Virginia and law enforcement attempting to solve the most challenging cold cases, like the Tinsley murder.
We were able to use genetic genealogy to narrow it down to 2 brothers. Once we get to that point, we turn it over to law enforcement, and they have to investigate those brothers and determine which one is most likely the suspect.
John Miller's brother, who did not want to be shown on camera, says he too was interrogated by police.
And they questioned me for about an hour and a half, plus they took my DNA.
He now says he wants nothing to do with his brother.
As far as I'm concerned, when they told me that
Dang, that would suck.
to this crime, my brother died.
Imagine losing your brother.
The murder of little April Tinsley, just the
For
latest
being
in
a
a
sicko.
series of high-profile cases, cracked, investigators say, using the same cutting-edge technique.
The new DNA technology is just a wonderful thing.
The first to make worldwide headlines, the so-called Golden State Killer, an elusive criminal whose reign of terror across California in the 70s and 80s, police say included threatening phone calls to his victims. But in April, investigators say
Damn.
that GEDmatch website helped lead to the arrest of 72-year-old Joseph D'Angelo, the former police officer now charged with a dozen murders, suspected of committing more than 50 rapes. And just last month, according to police, DNA left on a restaurant napkin, busting open the 1986 unsolved murder of 12-year-old Michelle Welch. Officers arresting 66-year-old Gary Hartman. He's pleaded not guilty.
Today, we're at a point where if you're a criminal and you've left your DNA at the scene, you might as well turn yourself in now.
Yeah, that was
Then
creepy.
days later, across the country in Pennsylvania, a popular DJ arrested in a 25-year-old cold case.
What's
the
up,
murder
playa?
of teacher Christy Marak in 1992. Investigators using genetic genealogy to track 49-year-old Raymond Rowe, then lifting a DNA sample from his water bottle and chewing gum. Rowe charged with homicide. Law enforcement agencies across the country are now hoping to use the new technology to solve their cases.
My work has always revolved around families and trying to help provide closure.
And for the families of those murder victims, fresh hope following decades of unanswered questions.
You know, somewhere up there, there's a little girl dancing with her angels. She's celebrating. So when you get on your knees tonight and you talk to her in your dreams and prayers, tell her they did it. They did it, and we got them.
For Nightline, I'm Whit Johnson.
Man. Like, that dude was... He must have been possessed or something. I wonder how many other cases he hasn't admitted to. So we'll jump to the comments before we get into the featured case here. Tristan Dilly. Tristan, the reason I wanted to put it as our feature is because she basically had a secret relationship. She was a 14-year-old girl, and she had a secret boyfriend who was 19. And I don't think she realized how crazy this guy was. So it reminded me of, a theory that a lot of us have had about the Delphi murders. Oh, Blind, that's pretty cool. Do you ever talk? You ever get to sit down and chat with him? Ask him about some of the cases, or just kind of pick his brain a little bit? Wow. Well, welcome, Summer. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, we're right at the tail end. We're going to get into the Tristan Dilly here in a second, and then we'll play some clips from some pressers, and then hopefully some of the mods can find the actual, or even any of you in the chat, if you can point it out. I'll let you know in more detail here in just a second. Yeah, you're referring to the DNA. I actually wanted to talk about that. They keep talking about how powerful it is using the DNA. I wonder if the DNA that we have, because they don't want to be specific about it. So I don't know what type of DNA it is. Hopefully they can use it. Welcome. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, Unroyal. I didn't want to be the one to say it, but I really hope that's not what we're dealing with. Yeah, I think that's what we're missing. Is some real investigative journalism. Yep, you hit it right on the head. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into this here. And then we'll kind of talk about it a little bit. Her name was Tristan Dilly.
Cheerleading coach Danielle Waymeyer of Texas's Silsbee High School describes the death of 14-year-old Tristan Dilly, one of her athletes. Dilly is a high school freshman. She was found dead in her second-floor bedroom at her mother's home in Buna, Texas, Sunday night. Police suspect the teen was killed by 19-year-old college student Paul Audrey Adams, whom she had secretly been dating. Adams committed suicide the day after Tristan was shot twice in the head with a .22 caliber Magnum revolver. The girl's coach goes on to tell People that she was the type of person that when she's gone, you feel the void. She goes on to say, quote, "What has happened to Tristan is unimaginable and has shaken our team to its very core. My girls will miss their teammate, their sister, and their friend, and I will miss my cheerleader." She describes Tristan as an amazing athlete, student, and friend who loved cheerleading. Investigators discovered that at the time of her death, she'd been dating a boy named Adam. Jasper County, Texas Sheriff's Lieutenant Ryan Cunningham told People. After searching through Tristan's phone and Facebook, investigators learned that Adam's true identity was Paul Audrey Adams, a 19-year-old nursing student at Lamar State College, less than an hour away. Cunningham said he later learned that Adams had no criminal record and had been homeschooled. He also revealed that some of the messages between Tristan and Adams showed they were planning to meet at her mom's house on Sunday, the day that she died. Her body was found shortly after 7 p.m., according to Cunningham. Authorities believe she was killed sometime after 3:30 p.m. on Monday afternoon. Investigators found Adams' car and a tent near a canal, and as they were 150 yards from that vehicle, they saw him reach for a gun and shoot himself. Cunningham said detectives learned that a few days before Tristan's killing, Adams bought an axe, a machete, a hatchet, several knives, 32 meal rations, cases of water, burlap sacks, dumbbells, and duct tape. He had also purchased several sets of handcuffs and chains, calling this tragedy a premeditated event. Really shocking.
Man, what a psycho. That girl was dating a complete psycho. So he basically knew after he killed her, he would be on the run. That's how important it was to him. He didn't care if his own life was over. He was doing it. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, they're psychos from when they're, 8 or 9. It just depends on who they have there to kind of guide them and to help build back that whatever's damaged in the mind. But sometimes not only do they not have help, but they have things that are kind of making it worse. And her poor little brother came home and found her just laying there. This for what? And it makes me wonder if he was dating her just to kill her. And that's one of my earlier theories. And we all know who that involves. Probably one of the most ridiculous, but it's possible. Yep, no social skills. Or maybe even the family members were evil people when he just was raised in it. Maybe that's why he was homeschooled. Not saying there's anything wrong with being homeschooled. As long as you can balance it. Mm-hmm. I just don't like to be the one to say it. I'd rather think it. Okay, so we're going to jump right into these pressers because of time. I want to leave some time for some discussion. But if anybody out there can tell me the name of this state, the state trooper here. Okay. Does anybody know this person's name? I can't read his nameplate. Yep. Careful who you poke. Don't go poking the bear. Especially these people out there, these people that like to troll and they think they're clever and they try to find people. They never know when they're walking right into a trap. Oh, thank you, AJ. AJ. Coming in like a wrecking ball, so to speak. Oh, no, you're the bear. Shouldn't have poked you. You never poke the bear. Because then he wakes up and he tears your arm off. Or something. I heard bears can like smack your head right off your body. Don't poke the bear. Does anybody know this guy's name? Big fish. Yes. Like a wrecking ball. I almost sang it. But I didn't want the people out there that can't really sing very well, I didn't want to hurt their feelings. Because I got pipes. Just saying. No, I missed the name. We might have been talking about something else. Are you being serious? Dave Burstein? Okay. I'm not sure if that's his name or not, if that's what you're referring to. But this gentleman here, he did a news conference or a presser where he basically came out. I believe it might even been their first one. Captain Dave Burstein. Okay. Dave Burstein. Well, Mr. Burstein here, I can't find the news conference. He basically comes out and he says it could have been a random killing. Most likely not. And that made me think, why would he say that? And then it made me think about the information that they're not providing to us. and he kind of dives into it a little bit further in this news conference. So I wanted to play that, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on it. Check this out.
We have other information that we're not sharing, and specific to your question, Raphael, keep in mind that there the likeliness, the possibility of more than one person. We're not saying that the voice that you heard is the same as this person here. This is all very complicated, very involved, and as much as we would like to tell you everything, more importantly, we want to solve the crime.
Yeah.
That could be or could not be. The audio is also from Liberty's phone. So again, she had the presence of mind to have the phone on and to capture video as well as audio. No, I can't. That is a loop that we played 4 times for purposes for you to hear it.
Yeah, he looks nervous. Every time he says,
there's nothing I can speak to
mentions
about the
jail or
investigation,
capturing,
collection of evidence.
he gets all red.
Yes, and thank you for asking that, Paris. To clarify, the image that you're looking at here came from Liberty's phone. There's nothing that we are prepared to release at this time.
Mm-hmm. They may not know anything, or something very small. They try to make it appear to be something
No, I can't
substantial.
say that, because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone. Keep in mind, all of you are in the television business. What do you see out of the TV?
Thanks for joining us.
You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here. So there's lots more that we're looking at.
Okay. Let's play that part back here. So this is the part I wanted to talk about.
No, I can't say that, because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone. Keep in mind, all of you are in the television business. What do you see out of the TV? You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here.
Okay. So basically, he's telling us the reason that they clipped it is because there's something else of importance or of significance. This might be the information that they're referring to. Maybe there's a quad park, in the distance, or they something that they seen or noticed, something along those lines. Because listen to what he says.
No, I can't say that, because we weren't there. We know that voice was captured from her cell phone. We know this image was captured from her cell phone. Keep in mind, all of you are in the television business. What do you see out of the TV? You see this. You don't see what's over here. You don't see what's over here.
Okay. So I have a longer clip of this conference here. Let me pull that up. So what could it be? What could be over there or over here? What could he be referring to? What is it that they would have to crop out of the image that it's germane to their investigation? What could that be? You know, just think about that. I have a feeling it's handcuffs or something. I think this person may have handcuffed them. And they thought, well, it may do more harm than good. You know, he pulls out a badge and some handcuffs and tells the girls, you know, here, step up off the bridge. You know, you guys are in trouble for trespassing. Just for my own safety, you know, I'm going to need to handcuff you guys. I'm going to take you across down here where it's a little bit safer to cross, where we can't go back across the bridge. And then once he crosses, he attacks them. Maybe they fought. Maybe he only handcuffed one of them. I'm not sure. Maybe he handcuffed both of them, and then when he was done, he just took the handcuffs off. Because I'm starting to lean more towards a ruse. You know, I don't know if this guy could have chased him down. You know, attacked one and then chased the other one down. That's possible. Not sure if they were found together or apart. But if you think of somebody who can chase them down, you think of a younger individual. But an older person, he has mental prowess, and he'll use that as his tool. Just like the live we did the other night where the gentleman walked up to the girl behind the car wash. He pulled something out of his pocket. It may have been a badge. You know, she was only 11 years old. In her mind, she's like, well, why is this guy dressed strange? But he's a cop. You know, your mind, it just goes places. You know, she could have been like, well, maybe he's undercover. Let me just go with him, you know. She's not thinking this guy's going to kill her and hurt her. So maybe the girls were relieved, you know, when they saw this creepy guy pull out the badge. They're like, oh, man, I thought you were like going to try to hurt us. They're like, sure, we'll go with you. Man, we thought you were some kind of killer or some creep. I didn't know you were a cop. Okay, I'm going to play this one. It's a little bit longer.
As the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be somebody that knew that the girls were going to be there at that time? That's a possibility. Nothing is off the table.
That's exactly.
See, in the interview I was searching for, he basically says the same thing. But when he says, is this a random crime? At the end of it, he says, not likely. That's always stuck into my mind. So if anybody can find that and send me the link, or, you know, maybe follow up with me, because I spent about an hour trying to find it. And it's funny because all the things that you're not looking for, you know, when you're looking up the Delphi case, pop up. Everything you don't want. And then the second you want it, it's nowhere to be found. So let's play this again.
Information that says the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be?
Right there, he says, but not likely. And this was early on in the case. So they, after talking, they probably realized, hey, we probably shouldn't be talking like that. And like you said in the chat earlier, that's why now he speaks in generalities. Yep, I know who you're talking about. I'm very familiar with that person. No, it's not this one. I believe he's actually even wearing a brown. He might even be wearing a brown shirt, not a black shirt. And I'm pretty sure it may have been when they released the audio and the sketch, the older looking sketch, but I couldn't find a lot on that. I wonder, now that they have the new sketch, I wonder if they went back and tried to scrub all that stuff as much as possible. Yep, I remember. That's exactly where it's from. No, this isn't the one. I have it recorded somewhere in one of these files. I have a couple flash drives that I keep a bunch of little clips on, but it's definitely not this one. All right, I'll play this whole video again for you guys. It's very short. I think it's like 20 seconds long.
Information that says the person is local or from far away? No. Could this be a stranger crime? That's a possibility. Could this be somebody that knew that the girls were going to be there at that time? That's a possibility. Nothing is off the table.
That's exactly right. The only thing I would add is where the FBI can come involved, and if it does lead interstate or multi-jurisdictionally, we have that capability to stretch it further outside of this immediate community, across the state or across state lines.
Bam. Is that what you're talking about, Rod? Well, Summer, I still can't prove that they were there. I've heard YouTubers say it. I've heard the Patties mention a flannel shirt guy. They don't mention him by name. Might be another assumption. Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, the channel seems to be growing. So I get so many random people trying to criticize me. Oh, the reason I didn't subscribe to your videos because you're always drinking out of a metal cup and chewing tobacco. I was like, so what am I supposed to change who I am to appease you? Like, I'm just hanging out here. It's just, we're all hanging out kind of in a way. We're all sitting by our phone, by a computer. And we're just trying to figure this crazy world out. The more we know, the safer we can be. And why not bounce ideas back and forth? We're obviously all obsessed with this Delphi case. Why not come together? You know, some animals hunt better in packs, you know. Maybe we're pack animals. Who knows? Well, I don't know. I can't put him at the bridge either. I know he lives near the bridge. I know that, well, it's possible that he may have known the Williams family, but that's it. Rest of the information was most likely created by trolls. These are the same trolls that are still attacking us today. What are you referring to, Tamara? Are you talking about the flannel shirt guy? Yeah. Sometimes I even drink my weed. At the dispensary I go to, when I'm out of all my homegrown stuff, they have these energy drinks that are infused. Oh man, they're super strong. Oh, I'm far from it, Tamara. Hey, I'm getting old though. I almost twisted my ankle coming down the stairs the other morning. Like, how does that happen? Yeah, Groz is the bomb. It's my brethren. That's amazing. What do you use? Like some type of sugar or glycerin, right? Sounds yummy. All right, let's jump right into it. I got a question for you, Sleuth, if you don't mind. You know the orange van in the cemetery? Was that ever ruled out as suspicious? What orange van? Are you referring to the pickup truck? The one that's parked real close to the entrance of the trail that leads down towards the water or towards the crime scene? I don't remember a van. I remember there being a reddish truck, reddish orange. Everybody says it's PB's truck. We don't know that. And if you look at the truck, apparently PB drives an older model pickup truck. But if you analyze that image, it's actually a newer truck. I think it's actually like a 2016 Chevy Silverado. Might be a single cab. Oh yeah, coconut oil. That's how I make my tea. I usually just use a certain type of margarine too, and I make butter. That way if I want to feel a little groovy, I make some mashed potatoes with it. some brownies or something. Rice Krispie treats. Yeah, from the image, it appears to be an older model. But if you find any of the clearer images, or if you just watch the RTV6 chopper footage, you get a real good look at it. It's not an old truck at all. And apparently PB had an older truck. But I don't know. Once again, that's something created by trolls. And it's kind of like the same thing that's going on with Dennis Harmon. PB and Dennis Harmon, if you look at the blurry image on the bridge, you know, with all the blur and all the stuff that's going on, his facial features are going to maybe look a little larger because they're blurred, you know. If you take a picture and you kind of wave your hand like that, you're going to, you know, your hand's going to look like a giant claw, you know, baseball mitt or something. So what are you going to do if you see that image? Say, "Oh my God, the killer has he has a baseball mitt." No. You're going to consider the variables. So we're pretty much at the 15-minute warning. So if you guys want to ask some questions, or if anybody wants to chat, give me a buzz. You have my email. I think an hour and a half is good for these types of shows. That way, if people want to replay them, they can just kind of play them in the background. And there's a lot of content. I try to keep it a lot of cases that a lot of people haven't heard of, and then I'll slide some more in there, like the Tinsley and stuff like that, and the Carly Ryan, if it's applicable. But these lives, the theme is always to take a look at these cases, and most of them, we know who the killers are. We know what their motive is. And if we attach those motives and those profiles to some of the theories we have, we might gain some kind of insight. And if that insight can lead to maybe like a real clue, imagine giving like a real clue to law enforcement and they're like, "Hey, this is what we needed." I mean, Ron Logan talks about his neighbor PB, you know, was one of the people that found him. But I would suspect him because he lives right around the other side. So when he says neighbor, he doesn't mean like they live right next to each other. Their properties are touching, but they're actually pretty far apart. So it would make sense that somebody, that's why I get so upset with law enforcement, because it takes like a regular Joe to say, "Hey, why aren't you guys looking right here? Like, this is my backyard. Like, look at this area here. You guys need to be looking here." So he probably could have been like, "Hey, let's go check this area. I'll kind of guide you guys down here." So if anything, he may have been a big help, but you never know. You know, you can't rule him out. You can't rule anybody out. Let's get to some questions. Oh, Rod has a question. Sleuth, what's your opinion on Abby wearing the same clothes on the 12th and the 13th? On the 12th, that ballpark with grandfather, and 13th on the bridge. Jacket is only difference. Hair and a bun too. Well, to be honest, I hope that, and you know, this is going to be a trigger warning, and you know, there's room for outrage, but the truth is, you know, in my mind, that grandfather could be suspect. I've seen so many crocodile tears, and it hurts to say something like that, but it happens. I mean, how many videos do I got to play you guys to show you that family members are capable of this stuff? Just last week, I showed you a mother and her daughter plotting to kill the rest of her family, and they succeeded in killing two and almost fatally killing one of the other siblings. Nobody suspected. Nobody would have ever suspected. Just like the two boys we played today. If they wouldn't have been caught or didn't leave all that damn evidence, nobody would have suspected them. They're just two boys that were going to high school. If anybody asked about them, no, those guys are nice. There's nothing strange about them. Same goes for Bridge Guy. But yeah, my theory is that it was a sleepover, Rod. They did confirm that was that Sunday at the park. They were hanging out at his. That's the part that kind of bothered me. They were staying at a hotel together. That was a red flag for me. It could have been harmless. Because I don't see anything wrong with it. Maybe he wanted to be comfortable and have his own time with her. But I thought it was strange if there was something inappropriate going on. That makes sense. It's just something to be considered. That's all I ask of anybody. Just consider it. Have the courage to consider these hard thoughts. They're not easy. And most people, they have a defense mechanism that won't allow them to. Did he? That's what he said. He said he left. I don't know if it was that Sunday. It was probably Monday morning. Because if they were at the hotel playing catch, later on in the evening, that means it would have been past checkout. So he must have been with her on the 12th and then left Monday morning. So that would still put him in Delphi that morning. And I mean, the taste on my mouth just saying that is disgusting. But the reason we do, all this true crime stuff is because of that kind of wickedness that is surrounding us. Think about all the serial killers out there. That's somebody's those are somebody's fathers, grandfathers. Some of the women, there's women that are serial killers. That's somebody's mom, grandmother. Yeah, let's take a look at what the diecast gods stated here. Does come off a bit cold, though. He also had scratches on his arms, but it's argued it's because he was cut from searching for the girls. Yeah, the thing about Mike Patty is he's not blood, Doesn't mean he didn't love them, but there's just something else that comes with having that blood relation. It feels like it's almost part of you. And there's something uncontrollable about that love that you have for people that are blood relation. Not only that, he seems to just be that guy that may have needed to step up, kind of be strong for everybody. He dealt with the media. He dealt with a lot of stuff. They were together. On a live I did at the beginning of last month, I actually played the video and dove into that a little bit. I played the video of them at the park playing catch where she's wearing the same shirt. It kind of seems like she might be wearing different jeans. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely the same shirt. Same shirt that was in the Snapchat photo of Abby on the bridge. Yep. Look at everybody. Me too when I have the munchies. And another thing that I was talking about on Graz's Discord earlier with Colt was law enforcement gives you these images. They put out this motion video of bridge guy on the bridge. They put out his voice. They give us 2 sketches and a still image. And then they say, don't do side-by-sides. Don't do side-by-sides with people. Well, what the fuck are we supposed to do with all the images and the audio? I guess it's just for that one person, you know? You know, kind of like what Sean Harmon says, you know, he's talking to me. He might be right, but I still don't understand that that reasoning there. It makes no sense to me. Like why even put out a sketch to begin with? I think Mike and Cody were. That's what I heard. I heard that or I read that in an article about it. Yeah, and that could just be their opinion, or that could be from one of the earlier witnesses who basically Holman admitted was most likely just the searchers. They don't want to come out and tell. He admitted why they switched from one sketch to the other. He said it just took them a while to get through all the people that were at the bridge and to finally figure out that the older looking sketch was actually most likely Mike Patty. He was there around 4:30, 4:35-ish. This is before law enforcement was ever called. So that means people are walking up and down the trails, and you know, here's Mike Patty and Derek German running around looking for, you know, the girls. So people that are walking in and out or maybe looking from afar, they're like, yeah, I saw a guy. He was wearing a jacket with a hood, which they all most likely were. It was cold as shit. So after a while, it took them months to finally figure out, oh man, we screwed up. But another thing that I wanted to talk about, so they had the sketch on day 2 of the younger looking suspect. Okay, so if they had it on day 2, that means it's the 17th, February 17th of 2017, 2 days later. And the way we can actually verify that information is because the sketch artist is actually quoted in an interview of stating that. He made the sketch at that point in time. And law enforcement has outright admitted that much. So Kelsey came out and said that it's new technology. So how is it the sketch was made, presented on the 17th of February, but yet it's new technology? So that the technology wouldn't be new if that sketch was provided or created on the 17th of February. So there's another inconsistency for you, Rod. All right, we're going to do a couple more comments, questions, and then we're going to close her out. Yeah, I mean, the young sketch didn't have any facial hair. And the face, the older sketch kind of has like a pudgier face, like indentions here, and then kind of like a double chin. It looks just like Mike. So I mean, there's videos out there of Holman where he just flat out says it. He's like, in my opinion, they saw Mike. You know, that doesn't mean anybody's accusing him. We all know he was there. What's up, True Crime Commentary? Thank you for showing up. We're pretty much on the tail end, but if you have any input or anything, we're glad to take a look. Yeah, the video is getting cleared up, and the technology that I have is producing a lot more than what they provided, and we all know from that one news report where they actually went into Delphi's crime lab, and it was just two IT guys. So when law enforcement says this is as good as it gets, I mean, what are they referring to? What those guys did, or what NASA did? And then why did it go from NASA over to Disney? Like, why would Disney get involved? They must be covering up something in the image that is germane to their investigation. Yeah, it is. And it's important that we have all these different types of minds going in different directions, and we can all bring it together. If anything, just to clear up some things and, remove some of the fingers that might be pointing in the wrong directions. But nothing's outside the realm. Yeah. I think their biggest witness is their own eyes, analyzing the footage. Because think about it, if law enforcement was witnessing a crime from afar, they're going to do the same thing. They're going to do their best to kind of explain what it is that they're seeing. Well, there were some witnesses that basically described a man in a hoodie and a scarf on the trails. But later on, basically stated they're not sure if once the bridge video came out, they claimed they're not sure if that's the same person. So imagine all the man hours it would take to interview each. You have to work with their schedule. Sometimes you have to schedule an interview like a week out, and then you have to reschedule it to follow up, another week out, and that's just one person. And we all know that there was a whole bunch of people out there, not to mention the teenage people that we know that were out there. None of their testimonies or their information will be released because of their age, but that might be the information that law enforcement has as well. And that might be also why they're going with the younger sketch. Think about it. No DNA match. Why would the girls leave? If they're there to hang out with their friends, why would they leave them? I see a perfect scenario, like a Mean Girls scenario. They lure the girls out there, maybe using a boy that they know one of the girls can trust or like. Yeah, true crime commentary. I saw that it popped up here on a notification. I really appreciate that. All you that shared the video tonight, that's really nice of you, and I appreciate it. Yep, welcome. Thank you, sir. Well, I mean, that would go for anybody. Anybody, you could point out anybody, somebody that we've never even pointed out, and somebody's going to be shocked, when they find out who this person is. somebody out there is going to be shocked, regardless if it's, you know, law enforcement or somebody well known in the community or something like that. Doesn't matter. That's kind of like one of those, it's like a blanket statement, very general. Because, I mean, we're already shocked over this crime. We're already shocked. So, yeah, of course we're going to be shocked when we find out who did the crime. Which comment? Pop it back up there. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't allow certain things. I know we have some mods in here, so I'm not exactly sure. Nothing popped up for me to take a look at. Yep. And I know they collected a cigarette, so I'm wondering if they got the DNA from that. And then we used to think Bridge Guy was spitting. He is spitting something because I've actually captured it and I'm working on it now. I'm trying to bring it out a little bit better. It's a white object and you can actually see it go across his, it would be his left shoulder at a downward angle. So I don't know if tobacco would come out white. So I'm thinking maybe he just spit something or he spit out the cigarette butt. So I wonder if they were able to collect that possibly, or maybe he lit up another one. I'm not sure. Yeah, I go over those frames every day, sometimes longer. Yeah. Amber would know. It should pop up right in front of her. There's a news report. I think it was either the day they went missing or the day after. There's a bunch of media out there and they were interviewing people and they actually interviewed some of the younger kids there. And there was a young lady. She said, "Hey, I wasn't here." Like she made it a point to say I wasn't there. She's like, "But a whole group of our friends were here, you know, with the girls." So that kind of gets rid of that whole conspiracy about people not seeing the girls because, you know, well, if she wasn't at the trails, how could she see her? So I guess that's not a good example. But she stated she talked with her friends and that they did see her. I wonder why. Pop it back in there, Rod, and see if it comes up. Yep, I agree. Good to see you, Just the Facts, by the way. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And maybe that's why it's not so good. Yeah, that's happened to me a few times. Yeah, that video's coming soon. Give me like a week. It's actually almost finished. I had it all ready and then I mislabeled it and I accidentally deleted it. But it's not hard to recreate. I'll show you guys how to do it as well on your own. On the RTV footage, the helicopter footage, that was on the 14th at about 11:30, 12. So I don't think anything found that day is of any value other than the truck that's parked at that business across from the CPS. There's a truck parked there and one of the gates is open. One of the garage doors is open all the way. So obviously somebody that works there was there early in the morning. And that means he possibly was there the day before early in the morning and was most likely the person that reported the vehicle at the CPS building. And Brad Heath most likely provided some other information other than the vehicle related to the vehicle. Yeah, so it must have been YouTube. She said something, were you putting any type of brackets or anything like that? Apparently, YouTube doesn't like that. Yeah, it's possible. Yep. Always glad to have you. Xana. Yeah, me and that guy kind of go at it every once in a while. No, I kind of threw it away. I need to get a new system. This one's getting too cluttered. It's just filled with Delphi stuff. Yeah, since then it's been demolished. There's nothing there. It's just dirt. It's just a cement foundation on top of dirt. Okay, I'll take a look at it. I've been kind of staying away from Facebook for a little while. I'm getting overwhelmed with information. It's kind of clouding my brain a little bit. So I'm stepping away from it a little bit, but I'll check it out tonight. Yeah, I seen another picture with him. He was it was right around that same time that was actually in Delphi. I don't know if it was taken on the 13th or it's just posted on the 13th. But there's some pictures of his boss's truck. Just got to take them one at a time. Got to categorize them. And when people say it's probably somebody that we haven't mentioned, they're most likely right. Because if we've learned anything about these guys, they're very sneaky. I mean, that one guy, he killed that young girl, and then later on in his life went in and became a YouTuber. He would go out like in big cities and film it, and go to train stations and walk around filming it. Come to find out, he's guilty of a cold case. Oh, Carol. I didn't see her. Oh, there she is. Howdy. Not much. Hey, we played some stuff from Australia and the UK today. Yeah, and Royal, I still can't put them at the trails. Might be another one of those things we just take for granted. Becky called him a flannel shirt guy. So if you go to YouTube and you pull up all these Delphi videos, and there's tons of them of the McCains on the trails, and they're always wearing like a flannel shirt. So I can just see somebody going, "Oh, well, there's the flannel shirt guy." Tech, man, we're about to get out of here, brother. Thanks for coming, though. Appreciate it. All right, guys, if there's nothing else, we'll do the minute warning and then we'll jump out of here. And once again, I want to thank everybody for showing up, talking about this case. I mean, like I said, I'll admit it, I'm obsessed with it. So might as well try to be productive at the same time. Hey, I've been trying to schedule them out. I've been trying to do my best at that. All right, guys. Well, I think that's it. Once again, I want to thank you all for coming and checking out the Sleuth Intuition Live on the Delphi murders, similar cases, some news, different theories, different ideas. Moral of the story: never hurt anybody. Just to consider. Just to consider something. Never hurt anybody. Consideration is all it takes. All right, guys, you be safe. Happy hunting.